And so, the RWBY Volume 6 has officially ended. And what can we say about it? Well, a lot of people were disappointed in Volume 5. Were a lot of people disappointed in Volume 6? Well, I did see some Twitter rage, all that. What are my thoughts? Well, it was extremely heavy with emotion. A lot of reveal. And the pacing was kind of slow. Having said that, it wasn't a bad volume as people think, because some of the emotion were right. What was wrong was the fact that Team RWBY became a little bit antagonistic. But what is right is the fact that they did play up the wheel here. Hi, for me, this is the Angry Anime Fan, and yes, this is the RWBY Volume 6, Episode 13. We'll talk about the rest of the volumes after we finish there. First of all, the episode starts with Neo and Cinder heading toward Atlas, using Neo's hard light ability to disguise it into an Atlas ship. It's worth noting now that they have different outfits now. Neo has a sexier dress, so does Cinder. I mean, she's so aggravating. Honestly, I completely hate her now. I just want her to die. However, I have a very big feeling she is not gonna die in Volume 7, nor in Volume 8. Hell, it wouldn't even surprise me if she is the final antagonist of RWBY. Because exactly how many volumes are we gonna get? No idea. Either way, back on the real track, the Leviathan and some other Grimm are drawn to the people's negativity. Of course, Cordovin blames it on Team RWBY. However, Team RWBY does give her, if you hadn't pursued us like this, then this wouldn't have happened. You showcased your abilities, and then in the end this is what caused it. Which seems to affect Cordovin for the first time ever. So Maria tells them the sadistic choice that what are they gonna do now? Are they gonna run? Because this is the one opportunity they have to get to Atlas, or are they gonna fight off the Grimm? Without any hesitation, Team RWBY and Juniper proclaims they're gonna fight the Grimm because they are hunters. Also, they managed to pick up Yang and Blake. The implications that they are now in a relationship is extremely strong. I don't like that. I did not ship them. But regardless, however, is the fact that to stop the Leviathan, RWBY decides to use her silver eyes. I mean, guess it was pretty apparent that were gonna be used, but how? She has to think of the loved ones as she uses the bug form flight from Wise's ice powers in order to get close to it, and then try to use silver eyes. Unfortunately, thinking about the loved ones, she also thinks about how she lost her loved ones. So in order to calm herself, she calls out Jin's name, but not to ask a question. Yes, the fact that she can stop time if you ask her. Doing that made her calm her heart so she could focus more on the things. And surprisingly, Jin agrees to stop time, but warns RWBY that next time you use my power, you have to ask a question. RWBY did use her head here. She managed to do a troll logic on the famous Jin of knowledge. Either way, RWBY managed to calm her heart and thinks of all of her loved ones, as we see different animation of it all. But the final loved one she thinks of is her mother, as we finally see Summer Rose in real picture. And yes, she's a spitting image of her daughter. The only difference is longer hair, of course a white coat, but she still has black clothes, just as RWBY has. Although RWBY has black red, but she seems to be more of a black clothing. But her face is practically the similar, except she has longer hair, as I said before. So yeah, yes, as Yang just looked like her mother, except with the blonde hair. RWBY just looks just like her mother, except she has her father's short hair. So with that, she uses her silver eyes, petrifies the Leviathan, and even destroys some other Grimm, as the Mistral all celebrate in happiness. But just then, the unfortunate petrification wasn't strong enough to petrify the Leviathan, but it did give Cordovin enough time to recover after the blast of Team RWBY and destroys the Grimm, effectively repelling the threat. Having gained new respect for Team RWBY, she decides to let them go by pulling off a... well, Atlas couldn't stop that. With that, Team RWBY and Juniper, together with Crow and Maria and Oscar, all ships off towards Atlas, where they all gives each other praise for what they have done. But what breaks the tension, however, is the fact when Oscar mentions that when he almost crashed the ship, it wasn't him who did that. He gained guidance from none other than Ozpin. It doesn't seem like Ozpin has fallen into complete despair and has shut himself off. No, he is still in Oscar. It's worth noting that when the gang hears that, they do change their faces a little bit. Well, I guess it's true, they don't trust Ozpin anymore. Or more of the fact that they're gonna say that Ozpin has run away. But I began to wonder, maybe really Ozpin did fall into despair, but seeing that he is still in Oscar, he can still see through his eyes, so maybe when he did, he began to get hope again. Because he realized that he didn't need, no, the kids didn't need him, he needed them. Maybe that's why he came back, also because he wants to look out for the kids still. Well, we'll see, won't we? With that, Team finally reaches Atlas and it's revealed why it is so difficult to get there. It's because Atlas is a floating kingdom and it has a heavy military all over the sky. Ironwood's paranoia has now become extremely dangerous. But I guess but he is true. He is expecting an attack, because as the credits roll, as they say welcome, we see the final stinger as Mercury, Emerald and Hazel watches as Salem transforms new Grimm, and their destination, of course, Atlas. She's finally getting a little bit more into the thing. It's also worth noting here, though, that surprisingly, Mercury shows fear when he sees this. You know what he proclaimed in last time? That he thought he was where he belonged, and yet he still shows fear to this. Is it some true that yes, he may be a heartless man, but even he is afraid of some things? I wonder. But Hazel's word, a man once said, if you want to do something right, you do it yourself. It's worth noting that he's looking after Emerald and Mercury. Kinda nice in a way. But yeah, that's basically this chapter. Volume 6 wasn't that bad for me. It was heavy on emotion, but I didn't like the despair, and nor did I like the fact that Cinder is still alive and she is still going to be alive more. Because as I said before, I have a very strong suspicion she is the final antagonist of RWBY. I mean, think about it. She's crazy about what gaining power, and how more can you gain power? Perhaps by taking the Jinn. Ask the final question, how do I gain power? She answers that, and maybe then she finds a way to destroy Salem and take her power for herself. It wouldn't surprise me if Cinder wants to overthrow, well, you know, Salem, just so she can gain her power. But they are now on their way to Atlas. Every dangerous leaguer is on their way to Atlas, meaning that there's going to be trouble in Volume 7. Will hope win or will despair? Well, all I can say is, if people thought Volume 6 wasn't action-packed enough, it seems to be likely that Volume 7 is going to be at least a little bit more action-packed. Because as I said before, all the big leaders are now heading towards Atlas. So whatever awaits there, we'll see. At least one thing that was good in antagonist way was that Adam finally died. At least he finally died. But now I wait the rest. So, unfortunately, I don't think Cinder is gonna die Volume 7. Nor is she gonna die Volume 8. No, I think Tyrion is gonna die Volume 8. Or are we gonna lose another main character? I don't know. But I will review Volume 7 when it comes. Hopefully earlier than last volume, but I doubt it. So give me your thoughts if you have any.